When the final frontier called, these passionate homeowners answered in ultimate style.
You feel like you're on the edge of the world. I feel that I'm in heaven itself.
But there's a reason most homesteaders in Alaska build humble cabins. In a land this tough and wild, big homes come with big challenges.
They were worried that the high winds were going to break the windows because the winds are over 100 miles an hour at times.
From cliffs to rising lakes, from the threat of grizzlies to a sloping mountain face, turning an Alaskan dream home into reality requires determination, ingenuity, and cold, hard cash. On Ultimate Homes, Alaska. With over 119 million acres of mountains, forest, and lakes, it's hard not to find a killer view in Alaska. But if you want that view outside your door, be prepared to fortify your home against harsh winters and rugged terrain. The bigger your home, the more you'll need to rely on nature's strongest resources, stone and timber, to get the job done. In south-central Alaska, Anchorage is the most populated city in the state, with just over 300,000 residents. Its stunning views and accessibility to modern conveniences make it one of the most desired places to live in all of Alaska. Homeowners Mike Smith, doctor of internal medicine, and his wife Heidi found the perfect location on a slope of the Chugach Mountains, on which to build a place where they could raise their 13 and 16-year-old sons.
This is our dream home. We started the project before there were any houses up here, and I actually walked all the lots up here to find which one we really wanted. And then it took 2.5 years to finally build it. It's a very comfortable house. It flows well, it's well built, and I love living here.
This $1.6 million home sits on 3 acres of land. It is 4,600 square feet and boasts 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and a downstairs sports bar.
I'm a big football fan, so we wanted an area where we can watch the game, have a few friends over.
Since Anchorage, Alaska can receive up to 19 hours of sunlight during the summer months, the TV room was originally planned to have a wall blocking the sun from glaring onto the TV on game day. But as the house was being built, Mike and Heidi realized there was something even more spectacular to watch on the horizon.
We actually had this window over off to my right cut into the frame of the house when we were building it because we realized we could see Mount McKinley from there on a clear day, and it's roughly 100 miles away.
No game day experience would be complete without a top-of-the-line concession stand for some halftime refreshments. So Mike made sure he and his buddies wouldn't have to venture far to enjoy a cold beer.
On game day, we usually watch the game actually in the TV room, but we usually keep the game on in here, so when you're getting your refresher, you can still keep an eye on the game and not miss any part of it.
The sound of the big game isn't just limited to the TV room. Mike and Heidi had a state-of-the-art $10,000 audio system piped throughout the entire house, so they could listen to the play-by-play no matter which room they are in.
You can turn on speakers in one area of the house, or you can turn on party mode. You get all the speakers going at once.
And you gotta eat while you watch. Mike and Heidi made sure the kitchen would serve all their needs. State-of-the-art appliances and open design keep the cook in the game, and diners close to the action.
We love how open it is, and it provides a lot of space for entertaining. And around the kitchen, we have seating for up to 17 people. So it was very nice to have everyone all in the same space.
Want to grill out at halftime? Head out to the all-season 800-square-foot deck with an 8-burner stainless steel grill.
It's nice that it's covered in the wintertime. You're not coming out here and shoveling off the snow off your grill.
And there's a plan in place to keep the grill master warm and safe during the winter.
The fire pit here, my dad helped build. It's actually plumbed into the natural gas of the house, so you don't have to worry about charcoal and burning the house down.
Although the air temperature may be freezing, There's no better way to celebrate a big win than relaxing in the toasty 102-degree water.
So this is my favorite part of the house, the hot tub. It's nice and private. We designed it so we had a nice view of downtown Anchorage.
And up here on the mountain, although freezing temps and deep snow are minor inconveniences, 100-mile-per-hour winds can be a serious threat.
When they initially installed the windows, they were worried that the high winds were going to break the windows. So they ended up putting extra supports in. There's additional glass adjacent to the windows so it doesn't break.
Rather than using traditional fiberglass insulation, the exterior walls of the home were insulated with liquid styrofoam, which hardens, providing greater structural support to the home as well as increased temperature control.
It keeps the house at a steady temperature so you don't get these big fluctuations of it being warm and cold, which is really nice.
One of the items on Mike and Heidi's wish list was a floating staircase. Even though it added a month's worth of work and over $20,000 to the construction costs. Each floating stair would need to be bolted into the concrete walls to ensure their stability and safety. Time-consuming, but totally worth it.
We were able to figure out a way to make it work, and so it really made a nice effect. As you walk in the door, the stairs really make a statement.
At the top of the stairs, a floating glass brick walkway with reinforced steel beams ensures diffused light is the only thing falling below.
Even though it looks fragile, it's actually very sturdy.
Across the bridge is the entrance to the boys' wing, where sons Trent and Cole spend most of their time. They have their very own private living room where they can play their sports video games on a big screen TV, right next to their bedrooms and shared bathroom, but away from the adults.
It's definitely separated from our bedroom by a long distance. It has a big, thick door there to keep it nice and quiet for us, and they can be as loud and obnoxious as they want to be. As you can tell, it's sparsely decorated, so when they're throwing each other around on the floor, nothing gets broken.
On the other side of the bridge, the master suite sits at the highest point in the house and provides panoramic views of Mount McKinley over the Cook Inlet.
We always have sunlight coming through during the summer and the winter months.
Mike and Heidi have a great view out, but the mountain hemlock trees provide a natural privacy curtain from the homes below.
We really worked hard to save as many trees as possible. It was important for us to maintain that level of privacy.
To make room for the visiting team, 8 feet of bedrock was blasted out of the hillside to allow for a private guest suite. And the attached garage has plenty of space for 3 cars and all the snow gear to make winter a blast for the boys.
Our one big rule we had to implement is not to ski off the roof. When we designed the garage, we wanted to have a place where we can clean the fish. We fish up here a lot and fish for halibut and salmon and lingcod. So we designed it so when you come home from fishing, you can throw your fishing gear in the washer and dryer out here instead of mixing it up with your nice clothes. And we designed a nice deep sink in here to clean the fish, and we vacuum pack them here. And then we're able to put them right in the freezer, and that's why we designed the fridge to be right there.
After a cold day in the snow, it's satisfying to come home to a hot sauna. So Mike and Heidi had one built that the whole family could enjoy.
It's nice coming in here and pouring some water on the rocks and having the steam come up. You feel warm throughout.
We really have a place that we love coming home to.
"150 miles south of Anchorage, along the Kenai River in Soldotna, Alaska, Henry and Mary Kroll found the perfect spot to raise their 3 kids. Once their dream home was complete, they decided to call it Kroll Castle. Every aspect of the home was created with the Krolls' interests in mind, especially their love of fishing.
The reason we put our house the place that it is because of the Kenai River. And we love living here, not only to look at the river, but also to fish, which we do a lot of.
Kroll Castle is 6,500 square feet and hosts 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, as well as a movie theater, a greenhouse garden, and a recreational garage. Alaska boasts a stunning natural landscape that fewer than 1 million people call home. And a fortunate few have managed to build their ultimate dream homes here. Along the Kenai River in Soldotna, Alaska, Henry and Mary Kroll custom-built a timber fortress they call Kroll Castle, where they could raise their 3 children. They have a particular affinity for fishing, but gaining access to the salmon-rich river 100 feet below would take some special ingenuity. A critical part of accessing the river are the stairs that descend from the main house to the river's edge.
Before the stairs were installed, in order to access the river, it required a bit of a scramble to get down to the river and a bit of a scramble to get back up, but it was all in the name of fishing.
Now, with each support anchored 4 feet below the ground, it's just 93 steps down to catch a decadent dinner fit for a king.
The river is home to other wildlife besides fish, such as eagles, and there are bald eagles all up and down the riverbank here. There are moose and bears that don't necessarily feed in the river, but they can sometimes be seen foraging for food along the banks. And even as far upstream as we are, which is about 20 miles upstream, we see seals that come in from the ocean to feed on salmon.
At the top of the hill, visitors arrive at Kroll Castle under a massive 40-foot-long, 20-foot-wide carport.
It was actually designed as part of the timber frame, so it was one of the first features to be designed. What we really wanted was a comfortable place for people to be able to drive up to the front door and not be pelted with rain or snow. I think it really complements the home very well.
Hanging just above the entryway is the last addition to the Kroll home, a prized moose named Morris.
Morris is a world record moose that was killed about 20 years ago that we now have the privilege to babysit in our home.
In the great room, the timber structure was built using a 7,000-year-old woodworking technique.
The home is actually held together with these oak pegs and the mortise and tenon joints, which you can see. There's actually no metal joinery at all in this house. It is all the mortise and tenon joints and the oak pegs that hold the entire house structure together.
Wanting to incorporate as much locally sourced materials as possible, not only to save money, but to make the landscape a part of their home, the Krolls had their massive fireplace built from over 700 stones and rocks excavated from the area. But an oversight in the fireplace's design required some quick thinking.
Because of the timber frame rafters, we were only able to put the fireplace flue into a certain position, and since we didn't want to move the fireplace, we decided just to put a little jog in the chimney. Besides the fireplace, we have an additional source of heating in this home, which is the radiant in-floor heat. Radiant heat works by circulating warm water or a warm alcohol solution through pipes or tubes that are located underneath the floor system. And it is not only a very efficient way to heat the home, but also feels very good on the feet, particularly during cold winter days.
The sink is my favorite part of the kitchen. I wanted something big enough.
Mary Kroll knew that the kitchen and countertop not only had to look good, but had to be restaurant quality grade in order to stand up to the constant toll it would take after filleting the day's catch. So the Krolls had the sink and countertop made from a seamless sheet of stainless steel at a cost of $7,000.
It's wide and it's deep, and I'm very, very happy with it.
This is our kitchen island. We call it the ulu bar. An ulu is a native cutting device. It's a knife of sorts. Basically a knife that has a curved blade, such as the curve in the front of the counter.
The bar is made out of one piece of granite. It was based on a sample I had found at a granite store, and we liked it so much because it reminded us of a river bottom. Another neat part of this piece is the edges are raked on it, which gives it more of a rough edge, but definitely more interesting.
Across the room, a coffee bar was built from a 200-pound slab of marble and embedded with a handcrafted concrete sculpture of one of Alaska's most famous native fish.
Our contractor found a sculptor in Homer, Alaska, and he was able to fabricate a sculpted halibut to make our coffee bar.
The common areas of Kroll Castle are fit for royalty, as well as the King and Queen's master chambers, which was designed after Henry's favorite children's book.
This is designed exactly after the room in the popular children's book, Goodnight Moon. There was a fireplace such as this with 2 windows on either side in the children's book.
On the opposite side of the house, nearly 100 feet away, is an open loft where heat rises from the fireplace below to create the perfect place to read, study, or even relax to some music from the piano.
This is my grandmother's piano, and it resides here in the loft of our home. What's interesting about the piano is none of us play, but the piano plays itself. It's fully electric, and it has 50 piano rolls that we use.
On the opposite side of the player piano is a door leading to the kids' wing.
The kids' wing was designed strategically to be located as far away from the master area as possible.
With 1 teenager and 2 college students who like to play their music loud, the Krolls didn't want to be disturbed. So giving the kids their own space to be as loud as they want at the other end of the house was a perfect solution. On the many brutal winter snow days, when the kids were younger, the Krolls knew they would get stir-crazy. So 10 years ago, when they built the home, they blasted an additional 12 feet into the ground to build a basement perfect for the family to enjoy and any guests who might stop by.
We have a 80-inch LED flat-screen TV and a surround sound system and a wet bar and popcorn maker to spruce things up.
The home theater system isn't the only form of entertainment. In the backyard, a separate building vaults some high-speed, high-octane gear, perfect for the summer months.
The main person that plays in this garage is the man of the house. That's me. Well, this building is our storage garage. We built this a couple years ago to keep the toys safe.
With fishing an important part of the Krolls' life, there's one feature that comes in quite handy if there's an abundant catch.
Our wood smoker here is an essential cooking tool here in Alaska. I like to smoke fish, game, vegetables, even bacon and pizzas. And it's just a matter of putting them right in the smoke.
To fuel that smoker as well as the house for the majority of the year, the Krolls need wood, and lots of it.
This is the wood that helps to fuel our home. We have a great radiant floor heating system, but we like to burn wood, and we have a lot of wood on the property to burn. We go through about 6 cords a year, and I cut it with a chainsaw, split it with a splitter, and stack it here.
And to avoid the long trek to the nearest grocery store, the Krolls used a 1/4 acre of land to make their very own produce aisle.
Here in Alaska, we do a lot of gardening. It's actually a wonderful environment to garden in. Obviously, this time of the year, winter time, which is the majority of the year here, we're unable to garden, but the greenhouse helps to extend the growing season by a month or 2. In fact, a lot of our meals are comprised of things that we either catch, kill, or grow. The slate wainscot is what we consider to be our sweat equity in this home. The stone was all gathered off the side of the highway about 2-hour drive from here. And my family and I made about 12 or 13 trips with a truck and a trailer, loaded to the gills, about 25 tons of slate, and used that to form the bottom portion of the house.
After all of that hard work, the Krolls like to relax next to their warm fire pit in the yard.
We put this fire pit out here so that we could enjoy the outdoors more. And even in the summertime, it comes in handy when it gets chilly. We turn the flames on and sit out and enjoy a glass of wine.
Wanting to bring a piece of the past to their new home, Henry and Mary chose seating near the fire pit with special significance. It's actually where they first met.
This is a chair from the original Chair 3 lift at Mammoth. And they sold these chairs as a benefit for the ski team, which I was a member of way back when.
It's really nice to sit here in the afternoon or the evening and just relax with a glass of wine.
For this Alaskan family, living on the edge of the salmon-rich Soldotna River while enjoying every modern amenity makes Kroll Castle truly an ultimate home. "15 miles north of Anchorage is Eagle River, a stunning valley town nestled between the Chugach Mountains. Although this suburb of Anchorage has a population of over 26,000 people, This next home was built on such an extreme location, it's as though you're the only resident for miles. Homeowners Dr. Cameron Janjua, a radiologist, and his wife Jenny, a stay-at-home mom, wanted to raise their 3 children in a quiet place with unbelievable views.
We were just driving around. I wanted a place with a view, and I saw these for sale by owner signs, and I followed them up. They took me like a trail of breadcrumbs up the side of the mountain, came to this home, we opened it up, and the view was just amazing, and right then and there, I pretty much knew this was it.
For just under $1 million, the couple bought the 4,000 square foot home and undertook a massive construction project to childproof it.
We actually have bear visits. We have moose that come through here. We've had eagles, hawks. On a few occasions, we've had lynx come and walk around and check out the place.
To give their children a safe area to play outside, the family built a reinforced perimeter fence, anchored 3 feet in the ground.
This fence was designed to be really sturdy because below each post, there's something like 3 bags of concrete in there to keep it stable, and we're glad to have it as it is. This is one of the changes that we've had to make living up here in Alaska. This is a bear-proof garbage can that's designed to resist bears trying to get in and get at the yummy treats inside. We've actually had this tested more than a few times. We've come up and seen everything knocked over once and twice, and it's actually been blown down the mountain in a windstorm once, so we had to go get that.
To make sure the animals stay outside at a safe distance, only to be admired, the family shielded all of their double-paned argon gas-filled windows with a reflective metallic coating.
The film makes the windows shatterproof and shock resistant, so we can actually see the Alaska wildlife really up close and personal.
It's actually what's looming in the ground below that is the biggest concern for the family. Alaska may be the largest state in the U.S. in terms of land area, but it's also one of the least populated. Although its beauty is undeniable, it's one of the most challenging environments to build a home in. Just 15 miles north of Anchorage, Jenny and Cameron's dream home was built high up on a mountain face. In a state that records over 4,000 earthquakes a year due to its proximity to the Earth's most seismically active region, the Circum-Pacific Belt, they needed to make sure their home could endure the constant stress it would face.
It's a rather unconventional design. It's got a lot of steel beam and concrete post construction, which is unusual for a home, but more typical of a commercial building. It's reinforced all the way around, and the engineer who designed it did that to really maximize earthquake protection. The house actually moves with the whole mountain, which is a solid block of granite instead of sitting on soft soil.
The walls of this massive 4,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath structure are over 1 foot thick, providing insulation during the cold winter months.
The house has one side that is basically a yard for us that's built of a 4-level concrete and rock retaining wall that basically holds back the mountain and create a nice yard flat space that our kids can go play in. This is our 4-level retaining wall that not only keeps up our driveway and garage, but it keeps the mountain in its place. The ultimate reason behind why we chose this place, pretty much the ideal location in terms of maximizing sun and heat exposures.
The home was built right in the middle of a narrow pocket altitude called an inversion zone.
You look down at the bottom of the valley floor, you can actually see it's pretty much iced in, and it's 6 inches of snow down by the river, up to about maybe 500 or so feet.
Although the sea level floor is frozen over, in the inversion zone from 500 feet to 2,500 feet, the temperature rises 10 to 15 degrees, providing a warmer, more comfortable living environment year-round. Above the inversion zone, more snow and ice capping the tops of the mountains and volcanoes nearby.
The most unique feature of the house is the view. You feel like you're on the edge of the world. I often wake up in the morning when I'm seeing the sunrise, and I feel that I'm in heaven itself.
The view is always awesome, even when it's clouded up. But when it's clear, you can see about 200, 250 miles out in the distance, and you can actually see the volcanoes, Iliamna, Redoubt, and Spur.
For a warmer look at the view, the Janjua family can sit in their gas fireplace-heated sunroom with panoramic views of the valley. Adjacent to the sunroom, a room was built specifically as a place to homeschool their 6-year-old son and 4-year-old daughter. Motivated to spend more time with his family, Cameron turned a spare bedroom into a home office, spending nearly $15,000 on high-tech upgrades to make it all possible.
Living up here on the mountain, we're not able to actually get direct cable connection. We're able to get DSL, which is really slow, so we kind of live in that last mile problem that everybody's trying to fix for internet. So we've come up with an ingenious solution around it. We actually get cable internet, but it's beamed to us through this set of antennas, the other of which is 1 mile away down on the valley floor. Cable modem is set up down there. You know, voila, we get 250 megabits per second internet speed, which is competitive with what you get in the lower 48. This is my office. I'm a radiologist, so I'm able to interpret medical images, CTs, X-rays, MRIs. I could pretty much do everything I need to do in a hospital right here.
With homeschooled children and parents who work from home, the kitchen gets a lot of use. Complete with granite countertops and a high-end gas-powered stove that functions even in a power outage, it's where the Janjuas like to connect as a family. Upstairs, away from the kids' bedrooms, the master suite has one of the best views in the home.
So this is the master bedroom. One of the things we like about it, it's got kind of a unique shape to it. Again, it's really cool because it's got a great view of the mountains and also of the Anchorage city lights at night. So you get really kind of the best of both worlds.
For this family, living on a mountain face with spectacular vista views, where you can work from home and educate your children, all while having a front row seat to the best in Alaskan wildlife, made this their ultimate dream home. Located 40 miles southeast of Anchorage, in the largest ski resort community in Alaska, the town of Girdwood is where architect Marco Zuccaro built the dream home for a busy media professional who wanted the ultimate private escape. Instructed to give the home a modern penthouse feel while being completely immersed in nature, Marco had his work cut out for him. At a cost of $2.1 million, this 4,100 square foot, 2-bedroom, 3-bath home became a passion project for Marco.
I like to sea kayak, I like to hike, and I like to backcountry ski. Girdwood is like a base camp for all of Alaska, so I get lots of interesting projects. We specialize in remote design, mountain architecture. It's a perfect place to apply that.
Although the landscaping and driveway are still being finished, it's clear that privacy was at the forefront of the home's location. When the homeowner purchased the original 35 acres of land, he kept 5 acres in the center and sold off 30 acres of the surrounding area to an environmental land trust.
The nice thing is that he sits in the middle of a fairly large tract that will never be developed.
As with many structures in Alaska, earthquakes were a concern to factor in when planning the structural design of the house. For Marco, he decided to build the home deep into the rock of the hillside, giving it increased stability. The slope of the ground also creates the illusion when the home is lit up that it's almost hanging from the treetops like a lantern of light, which Marco thought would be unique. Below the living area, the underground garage is 20 feet tall and reinforced with 12-inch concrete walls.
You enter underground and then you come up into this lighted area after being underground.
Entering from below reveals a wood and steel floating stairwell that spirals all the way up to the top floors of the home. At a cost of $200,000, the stairs were computer sculpted for 3 months, with each piece of metal custom cut and welded together on site. Spanning 4 floors and consisting of 95 steps, steel supports were also put in place to make way for a future elevator system. The entire floor plan was engineered based on the detailed placement of the stairway. And although at first it was a huge design challenge, it turned into a stunning opportunity.
Once you come through this level, all of a sudden you see the views and the sunlight and the openness.
Alaskan homes are built for strength and durability to be able to withstand some of the harshest weather conditions in the world. Often built in remote and difficult locations, careful planning and extreme precision are needed. In Girdwood, Alaska, architect Marco Zaccaro was tasked to build the dream home for a busy media professional deep in the Alaskan wilderness. He wanted a low-maintenance, modern home with a penthouse feel that would be a quiet place to unwind after a long day at work. Walking up the stairs reveals each floor pinwheeling off this metal stairwell sculpture, and each room is positioned in exactly the right place for natural light views of the forest.
Once you come through this level, you completed your transition from the exterior to the interior. Come up to this plane, and then all of a sudden you're in the interior of the house and you see the views and the sunlight and the openness.
The house has vertical circulation through the 3 main sections of the home: the living room, the master bedroom, and a second bedroom suite. Each wing is surrounded by triple-paned glass windows, which offer a private wilderness view while insulating from the freezing temperatures. On the first level, the living room is a peninsula that juts out onto the forest floor, providing a virtual camping experience. Jetting out over the front side of the house is the master suite, which provides the best views in the house of the 6,000-foot vertical mountains.
So when you're in this bed, you really do feel surrounded by nature.
The guest bedroom provides a place for ultimate privacy. It also features drop ceilings, corner windows, and a view down to Turnagain Arm, a branch of Cook Inlet. Engineering a home like this required extreme precision and planning. But when Marco saw potential for improvements and ways to make better use of space, he went back to the drawing board to make it happen.
This is the loft. This is a found space actually in the house. Originally, the kitchen was to have a high ceiling here. In consultation with a client, we decided this would be a prime piece of real estate to add to the house. It's actually the nicest place in the house. You're totally surrounded by glass. You're elevated a little bit. The trees totally surround you, and you really truly feel like you're in the forest.
By decreasing the height of the ceiling in the kitchen below, Marco was able to add 400 square feet of additional living space above. Marco and his team used state-of-the-art computer modeling to make sure that the arc of the windows in the loft follows the sun at equinox, so that light enters the loft consistently throughout the day. And since it's the highest point in the house, that light acts as a lantern to permeate the glass panels in the stairwell, all the way down to the bottom floor.
These glass panels, we placed them here so that when you're sitting in the couch, you're not looking through bars. And we custom made these brackets of steel, and they're simple and elegant and show off our detail work.
With unbelievable vista views, total immersion in the forest floor, and custom steel and woodwork throughout the house, this $2.1 million home is far from roughing it in the Alaskan wilderness. 70 miles north of Anchorage in Willow, Alaska, is Nancy Lake. A pristine, state-protected recreational lake surrounded by 22,685 acres of untouched wilderness. At its southern border, an old run-down cabin had caught mortgage consultant and recreational pilot Jeff Stanford's eye for nearly a decade. Seeing the potential of the land, Jeff was determined to build his dream home for himself and his 4 daughters.
This house was a dream. This property had been sitting here. I've been driving by it for at least 10 years and never saw anybody here. And so I finally found out who owned it. We were able to put the deal together.
After laying out $275,000 for the 8-acre old homestead, Jeff set out to build a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath, 4,200 square foot, $1 million log home with an impressive view. But building a log home of this size so close to the lake would require careful planning.
We really cannot regulate the water level of Nancy Lake. We have a serious beaver problem. And when the beavers dam it up, the lake just keeps coming up and up and up. So we've had times where our whole front yard is underwater. We actually had our daughter out there canoeing on our lawn. It's crazy. It can go up down 5 or 6 feet. So we're 10 feet above natural ground terrain. We are on what's called slab on grade. So we end up having to haul in thousands and thousands of yards of gravel. So basically, the trucks didn't stop for a couple weeks, constantly dumping gravel and compacting it to give us a nice base to build from. And then we've got a rock wall, basically in the front of the house. The biggest rock that we have is 80,000 pounds. Only one rock could fit on a lowboy semi-trailer. That's all he could carry.
With hundreds of fir and cedar logs needed to build the home, there was yet another major obstacle.
Originally, I wanted a log house. They put it on semi-trailers. Then they were basically trucked from Anchorage to Willow here. So when the truck driver came and he tried to get the semi-trailer down the driveway, they couldn't make the sharp turns. So basically, the driver, he says, hey, we're not gonna deliver your logs to your site. We're gonna leave them out on the highway, and then you guys are gonna be responsible for getting the logs to your property.
Encountering such a major setback halted all progress on the build. But Jeff was determined to do whatever it would take to get the logs and finish building his dream home.
We started doing log by log, and it was crazy how long it was gonna take.
In Willow, Alaska, mortgage consultant and recreational pilot Jeff Stanford faced a major setback when the shipping company wasn't able to move the logs needed to build his dream home the final mile down the road. But Jeff was determined to find a solution.
We started doing log by log, and it was crazy how long it was gonna take. Well, there's a guy actually who had done a lot of work for us, who did a lot of rock work, and he says, I'll get those logs into your property. He says, I'll get them there. It may not be pretty. I might take out a tree or two, but I'll get it done.
Using fir and cedar logs, the home was built for strength so that it could endure even the harshest weather conditions in Alaska.
You can see all the bracing that's been done to make this thing structurally sound. The scissor joist, you don't see that very often. Basically joining two logs together. It's beautiful the way they did it. This beam goes all the way through, is actually structural that is part of the carport. We've got two covered porticaches, is the technical term for them. When we put in the foundation, we had to pour concrete. Tubes go down about 10 feet in the ground, and then the posts sit on top of the foundation posts. These are all cedar. You can walk straight to the house if it snows. You get out, at least your car isn't buried.
The home required custom-built windows that could withstand some of the most extreme temperature fluctuations in the world. From minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter months to upwards of 90 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer months, all while providing a one-of-a-kind, unobstructed view of Nancy Lake.
The windows are actually triple pane windows, and they're filled with argon gas, so they're an energy-efficient window. The weight, though, I mean, they're super heavy. The windows are 300-400 pounds. So the lower windows were relatively simple to get in, but the upper windows, it was a four-man job to get these windows put in.
The secret to staying warm in the winter is actually hiding right beneath your feet.
When you have a power outage, which we do have quite frequently, the heat actually is radiated from the concrete up. Once the concrete is heated, it stays heated. So that you could have a power outage for 2 or 3 days, and your house will still stay warm because the concrete is still radiating the heat.
Outside of the home, Jeff made sure there was plenty of space for all of his recreational vehicles.
This is my boathouse, where we store all the water skis, tubes, paddle boards. This is basically where I'm able to store all the toys for the winter.
One of the most intriguing parts of the estate is the tiny guest house where it all started. Located on the backside of the property, the old rundown cabin that caught his eye 10 years ago, Jeff had fully renovated. It's where he lived during construction of his home and where guests of his stay today.
This cabin I was able to remodel, gutted it, took it down to the studs, sheetrocked it, insulated it, wired it with speakers in the ceiling, put a nice wood stove in it, put a bed and new flooring. And so it's a super comfortable little guest cabin.
When temperatures rise during the summer months, Nancy Lake becomes a haven for birds who feed on the pesky insects.
I mean, we have thousands of mosquitoes. So one way of a natural repellent for mosquitoes is to have swallows or birds. So the goal is to put as many birdhouses on your property. So we've got about 15 birdhouses surrounding our house here. And every spring, swallows fill them up, and then basically all summer long, they're eating the mosquitoes.
In the winter, Nancy Lake freezes over with a foot of ice. Just enough thickness for locals to land their airplanes on top of the water below. For an experienced recreational pilot like Jeff, there is no better way for him to come home than landing his plane on the lake in front of his dream home.
This is the ultimate in Alaska transportation. This is how we get everywhere. And it's actually cheaper to fly from Anchorage to here than for me to drive my truck.
Piloting your own plane to your $1 million lakefront home? Now that's an ultimate dream come true. The neighboring 100-mile lake sits at the foot of the Matanuska Glacier. It's where Brenda Goldberg decided to build her dream home, which would also serve as a bed and breakfast for a lucky few who come to vacation. Built in between a mountain range and a massive glacier, this $2.5 million home sits on 70 acres and boasts 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms and is privy to some of the most stunning views in all of Alaska. Having placed most of her life savings to build and furnish her dream home, it was a huge undertaking to make sure no detail was overlooked.
The most challenging part was to step out of my comfort zone and wondering if I could make it happen.
In Alaska's Matanuska Valley, Brenda Goldberg decided to build her dream home, which would cost a staggering $2.5 million. Using her life savings to build and furnish the home, Brenda was adamant to make sure everything was exactly how she envisioned it to be. Above the great room, a giant 4-piece set of double reinforced stained glass windows makes a bold statement. The custom pieces cost over $8,000 and took a year and a half to complete. The massive exposed cedar timbers, which also provide the supports of the entire house, need to be restained every 3 years to regulate moisture in the wood. Taking a full day to complete at a cost of $12,000, this type of careful maintenance is required to keep cracks in the logs from splitting and compromising the structure. Even though Brenda opens up her home to vacationers, she never wanted her home to feel like an inn. So she decorated every room in the house with personal items she collected over the years to make it feel as warm and inviting as possible. When it's time to turn in for the night, Brenda's home features 4 different luxury rooms to choose from. She wanted her home to have lots of personality, and when she made each of the 4 bedrooms, she made sure they all felt unique. In fact, she named each one of the rooms: the Saddle Notch Room, the Fortress Room, the Glacier Room, and finally, the Matanuska Room. They all have king-sized beds, and each one has its very own private bath. Each room has its own look and feel. While the Saddle Notch Room is very warm, the Fortress Room feels like a cabin in the great outdoors. But the best bedroom in the house has everything you could ever want. At a whopping cost of $20,000, these 8-foot-tall triple-paned windows open up the whole house to the beauty around it.
So I wanted to make sure that the windows, I could stand in them. I wanted big windows, so that's what I got. The house was specifically set so that you could always see the glacier, and in the back you had the opportunity to have the full view of the mountains. This spot up here is one of my favorite places. It's a place where I get to enjoy watching the moose. I like to look out at the lake, watch the moose teach their babies to swim.
Brenda's Matanuska home isn't just a place to see a great view. Matanuska Glacier is a window into the past, clocking in at over 10,000 years old.
100 Mile Lake is right in the back of the yard, practically.
With such incredible panoramic views, Brenda wanted an outdoor hot tub she could relax in and enjoy year-round. But at a cost of $32,000, her hot tub is anything but ordinary.
Lots of people have hot tubs, but this one's special.
This hot tub has a motorized steel cabana top that raises up to 8.5 feet high to act as a roof. 8 people can enjoy the hot tub at one time. And when it's closed, the cabana acts as a cover, minimizing water evaporation and shielding the hot tub from the elements, preserving the life of the spa. It doesn't matter what the weather's like. You can sit back, relax, and take in the amazing scenery. But for the times when staying inside is more preferable, Brenda also had a sauna installed so that anyone can relax and warm up in the 103-degree enclosure. The upstairs section of the house is truly massive. At over 6,000 square feet, it hosts 5 guest bedrooms, 5 baths, and an incredible master suite.
This room is the Matanuska room, named after the glacier.
Brenda designed her 550 square foot dream bedroom to be as comfortable as possible. Complete with a see-through fireplace, full bath with a 2-person hot tub, and direct access to the outdoors, it has one of the most amazing views in the entire home.
It's amazing just to think that you have a glacier right across the street.
For this homeowner, living amidst the Alaskan wild with a stunning glacier as the backdrop is absolutely the ultimate dream come true.